Disclaimer. The takes on this podcast may not be backed by facts or statistics. In fact, most of the takes on this podcast are backed by feelings, not facts. Unfortunately, podcast equipment is free to purchase by the public. Please enjoy this podcast at your own discretion.
Okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like Dom singing. Blasting like bombs ringing.
Welcome back. I'm Devin, that's Zane, and this is Buffet Sports.
Okay, so I put out a clip/video talking about taking Rome Odunze for the Chicago Bears when I thought they should have taken an O-lineman or a defensive piece.
Buns pick.
As you can see, we have 60 comments. So instead of just finding the ones that I hate, we're going to go through these live. So first comment by Connor Boward. Bro does not understand football and rookie development. Getting a wide receiver that high can learn from two great wide receivers.
Facts.
Very good. Yes, facts. Very good point. Very good point.
He gets it.
Yeah, but
bro knows football.
For me, thinking about like the next 10 years,
Why are you thinking?
Okay. I'm a Ravens guy. I'm a Ravens guy. I'm a tight ends guy. I like my O lineman, and I think having an O lineman and this draft class was extremely deep for guards, right? So you get a guard, and it's going to be you're going to have them for the next 10 years. That's just what I like. It's my personal preference. I wonder who Orange Shirt is.
Orange Shirt. It's me.
Yeah, I wonder who Orange Shirt was.
It's me.
Odunze was perfect pick. The two wide receivers.
Your take was so
okay.
ass.
Here's the thing. I do want to talk about this guy right here. The two wide receivers you listed literally want money, not the number one. What's the problem? Not that. Okay, here, buddy. Nick Gallagher, you commented this 5 minutes after I posted. I have waited a week to talk to you, Nick. We talked about T. Higgins and then Brandon Aiyuk and how they want to leave. And you say it's about money.
It is.
Newsflash, you can't get paid the number one wide receiver salary if you're not the number one. Sorry. That was a little aggressive.
Yeah. Read the next comment right under there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Read the next comment right under there.
Give me a second. Newsflash for you, Brandon Aiyuk and T. Higgins will not get paid as much as Jamar Chase and Deebo Samuel when they are on a team with Jamar Chase or Deebo Samuel. That's just how it is. And literally, like this entire week, there was so much controversy about the 49ers and what they're going to do with all these guys because the contracts are running out and they're going to have to pay these guys. This is what happens when you have a stacked team, is that you can have them for 3 to 4 years, but eventually you're going to have to pay them. And then they're going to pay Deebo. They're not going to pay Brandon Aiyuk because they still have Christian McCaffrey. They have all these guys on the 49ers squad. That's the whole point with that. So yeah, they want more money, but you can't get more money when you have a team full a stacked roster in skill positions because they could just send you off somewhere else because they don't really need you as much as if you go to a place like Carolina, right? Where you are the number one and they need you right here, right now. I'm sorry to say it, but like T. Higgins and Brandon Aiyuk are less valuable on those teams because there are better players playing the same position as them. That was I was screaming, but yes.
Go ahead, read the
next
comment.
And now we're going to your favorite comment, brother.
Yep.
Bruh,
I want to read it. I'm going to read it.
Read it.
Who made the potato salad? Dog. Thank you. It's been 6+ months listening to this guy.
I'm going to grab a beer.
Bruh. Screaming does not win you the argument. Keenan Allen signed for only 1 year. Taking Rome was the right move. He can learn from Keenan Allen and gain experience as the two. And then, and this is not part of the comment, but then eventually become the one is what he's alluding to. Screaming doesn't win you an argument, Zay. Maybe you you need therapy.
It seems to work out really well. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to change who I am just because who made the potato salad with no profile picture is talking shit.
No.
All right. I'm not going to change who I am. And yeah, I scream a little bit, but
A
because
little bit.
that is because you do this thing to where, like, if you look back at that full clip, you said, I brought up like this point again and again. And every single time you just said Keenan Allen's on a 1 year. Keenan Allen isn't going to be there that long. So yeah, I get a little frustrated when he says the same thing back to me.
Because that's the whole point.
Yeah, but like to me, when you're saying that, it's not a good point because you still have DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, right? You still have weapons there for Caleb Williams. You could have gotten an O lineman who's going to be there for the next 10 years. And then, like,
Why can't
wide
Rome?
receivers, I know Rome's a great
What?
guy. I'm not hating on Rome, but wide receivers are always in the draft. There's always wide receiver depth. There's never not wide receiver depth. They're
Yeah, but
like for the ninth pick.
every draft is becoming a wide receiver and an alignment draft.
Yeah, I understand, but for the ninth pick, I just feel like when you look at that team and what they need, I feel like wide receivers wasn't a need. I feel like it was a want. And that is
And
fine. That's fine. I'm not hating on Roma Doomsday. I just think that like an O lineman would have been a smarter pick.
I think maybe the difference here is for me when it comes to the trenches, specifically on the offensive line, I would rather pay for a guy in free agency than I would develop a guy. I'd rather take the time to develop a wide receiver because there's more impact there than I would developing a guard or a tackle. I'd rather pay for a tackle in free agency.
I
My
disagree.
that's the way I look at it. If I'm building a team, I'd rather pay for one of those guys than I would a receiver.
I disagree.
Because I would want the receiver younger. Offensive linemen can last a long time,
I
and you can
think
get them on second, third deals. Whereas
I
receivers, you want them young and you want them when they're fresh.
I just the same way as like the draft is full of wide receivers, so is free agency. There's always going to be another weapon. There it's rare that you're
But
going to get
there
another.
isn't
No,
though.
I feel okay. I feel like this. If you built your entire O line off of free agency, that's a terrible O line. That's just what
Why?
I feel like because they're all out of their prime. Like to me, O line is the most important like position, right? Like your entire
But
line.
why are they all out of their
I would
prime?
rather I because they're on free agency. If they were that good, they would get signed back to their team. That's what like you know what I'm saying? Today, okay, I can just tell from just reading today's NFL needs three receivers. Imagine having to cover all three of those dudes and Cole Kmet, who is also a dog. I disagree. Today's NFL is let's look at the flipping Super Bowl. Everybody just I think this is just they're just saying this because of the 49ers. Look at the Super Bowl. Right? There was no receivers there. It was just Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey. Like, what do you feel about this guy, Scooter? I feel like he's chatting shit. I feel like he's thinking about the 49ers or like the Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about regular season success, that's the truth. I think with the Super Bowl pertaining to the Super Bowl, it's again, you're gonna hate it, but it's Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes, dude.
I know, but like that's what I'm saying is that like well today's NFL. I mean, the
The best
Cowboys had CeeDee
quarterback,
Lamb. That's it.
the best quarterback in the league, and arguably the best quarterback in football, arguably of all time, is better than three receivers. But three receivers is better than most quarterbacks.
Okay, but how many places have 3-star wide receivers? Because your Raiders have Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, and then a
Hunter
tight end.
Renfro.
Okay, yeah, but that's not like
Yeah, he's not a star.
when he says three receivers, I imagine he's talking about Debo, Brandon Aiyuk, and Juwan Jennings. You know, like three top tier players that could start on other teams and be the number one. That's what I feel like he's talking about. So like
I
I can't think
mean,
of many teams like that.
but you still need three high level receivers in today's league.
Okay, name a couple. Like I feel like that's very rare. That's what I'm trying to say is that I feel like it's rare to have three high level receivers on a team.
I mean, you could argue that for the Bengals.
Who's
You
the
could
third?
Tyler Boyd.
No. I
I think he's a
I
solid
disagree.
two.
I
He's going to be a
disagree.
solid two. Like you're going to see this year, if T Higgins gets moved, then he's going to be a solid two. Um, you could argue that with the Vikings. They have three elite pass catchers.
Again, I
Um,
disagree. I feel like Packers, yes. Packers 100% yes. I feel like the Vikings no, because like I mean the amount of shit you talked about Jordan Addison, the number 2.
what?
You talked a lot of shit about Jordan Addison. He was on your fantasy team.
He was awesome. When JJ went out, he was a number one.
Bro, you talk okay. We'll move on. But who else?
Um, I think you
Like
could argue that with the Lions.
Amon Ra, who else?
Amon Ra, not Hawkinson's, Laporta,
I mean, here's the thing. Okay,
and
tight ends are out of this. But here's the thing is that I feel like if he's just talking about you need 3 receivers in general, then I agree. But I was under the assumption that he was talking about 3-star wide receivers, which I don't feel like is very
I think
common
you
in the
need
NFL.
three. I think you need three high level receivers. So you need a star, you need
But like
a two, and then
what
you
defines high level? Just NFL?
no, I think high level is like you need a star and two guys that could be the two. And it depends on the game which one is gets more looks, depending on the coverage and how they're playing them.
But I'm just struggling to think of teams that actually play like that. Because I'm thinking about Miami and they have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but I can't think of the 3.
Well, I think you're limiting it because you're not including you're not including tight ends or running backs there,
But
and they're
that's
arguably
what he did.
receivers.
He said and Cole Kmet. So that we're going off of Scooter here. And Scooter said that you need 3 wide receivers and Cole Kmet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, exactly.
So you
Three
need
receivers.
so that's
Three
why I'm saying
receivers.
he's talking about the 49ers because you have a stacked roster. Is that what I'm saying? Is that like his expectations are unrealistic? Because he's saying you need 3 stacked receivers and a stacked tight end, and I feel like that's
I
unrealistic
don't
in
think
today's NFL.
I don't think you need that. I think he's saying you have three receivers and you've got Cole Kmet. Imagine having to cover
You got to
all.
stop defending Scooter, brother. You just
Yeah,
agree that Scooter's wrong.
no, look, read his comment. Today's NFL needs three receivers, period. Imagine having to cover all three of those dudes and Cole Kmet, who is also a dog.
Yeah, so you need 3-star receivers and
I
a Cole
don't
Kmet level tight end.
I'm not saying I don't think he's saying you need a Cole Kmet, and I don't think he's saying you need three
He
stars.
literally says he needs into today's
Where's
NFL
need?
need.
Where is he?
What are you looking at? Today's NFL needs 3 receivers.
But where? Okay, there's one needs. Where's the star? And where is he saying you need Cole Kmet? He's saying
Okay,
and Cole
so
Kmet.
is he talking that you just need 3 receivers? That's it. You just need 3 receivers on the field. Doesn't matter star power.
I would say three high level receivers.
And I would argue that's pretty rare to see.
I think it's less rare than you think it is my argument.
Guy with the hoodie is clueless. Classic, of course. Saying Aiyuk is not a 1 is guy that don't. Okay, saying Aiyuk is not a 1 is guy that don't know ball. He better than Debo and less injured.
Facts.
Not getting paid as
Facts.
much as Debo.
Facts. That doesn't like the pay doesn't matter.
Okay, but do you really want me to scroll up to the comment where it's talking about how Brandon Aiyuk is leaving because he's not getting paid enough? So that's a
Yeah, but
contradiction.
but you don't need to be paid number one money to be a number one caliber. That's
But
why
they
he's
are.
leaving.
But yes, dude, so you agree with me? Is that is the problem with having multiple people with number
Yeah,
one
but
skill level?
the initial comment was that the initial comment that we started looking at
Is
was
they're
that
leaving because of money?
right, which is the truth.
But yeah, but they would get paid the amount of money if they were the number 1. So if Debo wasn't on San Francisco 49ers, then
Yeah.
Aiyuk would be getting paid the amount of money that he thinks
I'm a
he
Debo
deserves.
hater, dog. I've been saying that Debo's not like the guy.
All I'm saying is that it does, like, these are the problems when you have too many skilled wide receivers, is that people like Debo is a number one. I mean, Aiyuk is a number one, but then we look at the comment before and it's like, well, he's leaving because of money. And that is because Debo is the number one and he can't get paid number one money not being the number one. That's just
But
how it
but but
works.
that's the thing is I don't think that like Debo is getting paid like the number one, but that doesn't mean he's performing like one, which is
It
why
it
he's
doesn't
leaving.
it doesn't matter because how we feel about the players doesn't matter. It's how the team feels. The team feels that Debo is the number one and they're going to pay Debo the number one money, or else they would have paid Brandon Ayuk number one money. And then, like,
But
because
you can't go back.
Debo
But you
had the
can't go
same
back and
thing.
change it. When did they give Debo? I don't know. This is a rhetorical question. You can't go back and change it once you've given the guy the money. You can't take it back. That's the problem. Is they decided before Ayuk came onto the scene really that
Okay, but
Debo is the one.
there's so many other contracts that are going to be up in a year or 2 years, and they're not willing to pay Brandon Ayuk because they have all these other guys that are stars and are high talents.
But
So
that's not
his
Ayuk's fault. He's
uh,
still one caliber.
that I'm agreeing with you on that he's a number one
Okay.
talent. I am saying that the problem with having that amount of talent on a team is that you have to pick and choose between the talent when their contracts run up, who to
That's
pay.
fair.
And
Okay.
then they have these number one talents end up leaving because you don't have enough money because you have to pay Christian McCaffrey,
But
George
then they go
Kittle.
to Carolina and they get the number one money.
Yes, so you're agreeing with me.
Okay.
You're you're understanding, like, the point here is that you can't pay everybody number one money.
Okay.
And that was what always
Yeah.
pissed me off with the 49ers, is that, like, how do they have all these guys? And then now we're seeing it. We're seeing all this, like, how are they going to pay?
Oh.
Like, next year, a bunch of contracts are running up.
Well, that's just because probably I would imagine probably Kittle's taking a pay cut. You also have a rookie quarterback, so that's a ton of savings. McCaffrey was on a trade and most of his money I think was guaranteed, so that got paid out. So I mean, there's ways that we've talked about how smart the NFL is with contracts.
Okay, maybe I do have to say this again because these are two back-to-back comments about contracts, right? And we just got into this. I'm just going to say it clear right here, right now, is that when you have a guy like Jamar Chase on your team, your value goes down because you're not as great as Jamar Chase. Even though T. Higgins is great, even though Brandon Aiyuk is great, you will not get paid as much as them because they are better. Let's just okay, and let's keep going. I'm gonna have to scroll for this.
Do you think about me now and
Do you
then?
think about me
I'm
now
coming
and
home
then?
again.
I'm going home again. I'm Zane.
Um,
That's Devin. This is Buffet Sports. I'm doing the outro because I'm big
okay.
dog around campus. You can catch us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We post every day, if not twice a day. And Devin is putting in work on our long form as of late. And I'm going to get back on it. I'm going to get back on that horse, posting a lot more short form for you guys.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, cowabunga.
Cowabunga.